Greetings! You're watching Septum Sin versus the World. I'm Septum Sin. I'm here with Kotobuki Jake,
Hi.
and we are here to pump you up with information.
We are here to pump you up.
So November 7th is actually a very wide release day.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a whole bunch for November 7th, and we got one for November 10th. I'm just lumping that one in there. And since we got a lot to go,
We don't want it to be all by itself.
I will let you go ahead and get started because it's a lot.
Yes. And the first one, we're going to start off with, okay, well...
One that you know everything about.
Jeez. Okay, this is a movie Gravitas Ventures apparently is releasing. It's called The 60-Yard Line. It's about football and a football player and apparently and some fans and some alcoholism and all the stuff that usually goes with football.
Yeah.
That was probably not...
Actually, it looks like it could be a well-done film.
It actually...
Right.
Okay, this is one interesting thing about it. We got a couple of them on the list this week that have next to no information on IMDb.
Yeah, like a sentence written.
This one has, I believe, 40 as of last night. I have not had a chance to go online today. But I think as of last night, there were 40 votes for this movie.
Yeah.
And it had like a 7.5 rating. So the few people that have seen it liked it. So my guess is that this is supposed to be one of those kind of inspirational kind of movies.
Yeah, you know.
And a lot of times, so if you are in that crowd and that's the kind of movie you go for, give this one a go. But I have a feeling that it's going to be a niche film.
I actually might watch this one because it has a lot of nuances, a lot of things that remind me of... darn it. Okay. You know what's weird is that I use this film in my work so often. I'm... The Lost Weekend. There we go.
Yes.
It has a lot reminding me of The Lost Weekend because you've got this person and then alcohol basically takes everything from him. I mean, that's and that really shows. I mean, you go down towards rock bottom.
Ray Milland lost so much in The Lost Weekend that the next time he surfaced in my collection was 30 years later in Frogs.
That is a loss. So mine is one I also don't know a lot about. You might know more about it than I am because you do study all the Pixar releases.
This one kind of slipped by.
Cars 3 kind of went under the radar.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was out, to tell you the truth. I remember hearing about it, and I was like, okay, I'll get to it eventually.
I knew it was coming out, but I can't remember a Pixar film with so little fanfare.
I mean, it was like Despicable Me 3. It was liked for a moment, and then blipped real light, and then...
Yeah.
I mean, it sells child merchandise. I didn't like... I liked them all right, but they're very subpar Pixar films. As we go further along the line, it seems to get even more down.
The first Cars was pretty good. It's not their best by any means, but it was pretty good. The second one is one of their weakest films.
Until the third one.
Well, I just haven't heard anything one way. I haven't heard anything one way or the other. I mean, it's... So, yeah.
I have to get a hold of it because it's a Pixar film.
Yeah, I'll have to see it, too. I probably should have already placed a hold at the library, or I'll probably be waiting till...
It's on my wish list.
July. Not July, January. You know what I mean. Anyway, so speaking of shows that I'm probably not going to see for a while... my next release to cover here is an anime from Funimation is releasing. It's called Cheer Boys. And to be honest, I thought I'd heard a fair bit about this, but ANN shows hardly anyone's rated it. And it's gotten a decent rating, basically decent to good. But basically it's about two judo members decide to cheer instead. So it's basically a cheerleading sports film, guy-centric, like, boy cheerleaders. If that's your thing, then I'm sure you'll love the show. I'm not that big on cheerleading programs in the first place, but it looks like it could be worth a watch somewhere down the road.
It might be entertaining. I don't know.
It may well be. It may be very entertaining. And I have been... I can't say that I was blown away I want to be the strongest in the world, but it did entertain me, and that was a subject matter that normally wouldn't. Wrestling usually has less interest to me than cheerleading, so it might be worth a look, you know.
Watch Ayane's high kick.
Yeah, everyone's favorite. Okay.
So, we're going from something that's mediocre to something that's more spectacular range. Because Crown Season 1 is coming out now. I was actually worried that a lot of the Netflix shows would not get DVD releases. But it looks like they are getting pretty solid ones. I have to show you. Have you seen the new Stranger Things release?
No, I need to.
It is a thing of beauty how they put that together. It looks like a VHS tape. It won't fit on these shelves. But it's a really cool looking box. I mean, it really is. It's just it is a neat thing. Stranger Things never really appealed to me like everybody else, but that box was worth having.
Forget the show. I want the package.
Sometimes the packaging is what sells something like that, though.
No, actually, we'll be talking about that later.
The Crown is actually a pretty good show. From what I've seen, which is very little, it was very well done. The acting is spectacular. The people who play these parts, they really know what they're doing.
Claire Foy, right?
Yeah, Netflix does a really awesome job with this. This, to me, is one of the hits with Netflix. They have a lot of misses, but this is one of their greater ones. Season 2 is coming out. I'm going to try and catch up to it. My wife's already watched it. She's big on these. And so I'm going to try and watch it and do it. Very highly rated. If you haven't seen it, get to watching it. I will be. So, moving on.
Next up,
I've seen those.
Yeah, and you always split up the franchises. It seems kind of silly, but anyway, I have not seen the Darkman franchise. I don't know much about it, so I'll just introduce and you can do both of them, I guess. Shout Factory is re-releasing the second and third films in the series.
I missed the first release. I don't know.
Yeah, is it like in wide release, or did Shout just kind of miss that, or what's the...
I have no clue. Maybe we missed it ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, the second one is called Darkman 2, The Return of Durant. And I really don't know much about this series. I know it by name. It's a pretty well-known by name. It's got an iffy reputation from what I understand. One day I need to look into it just for sheer curiosity. But,
well, you like the spirit, right?
Yeah. Well, did I see it? Yeah,
Yeah, of course. It had our favorite cat character.
Yes, it was Arthur, right?
Yeah, Arthur the cat, yeah.
Yeah. Greatest cat in TV, in movies.
To me, Darkman had a feel like that, sort of like Vengeance plotline. And that one and Darkman 3, Die, Darkman, Die, both of them are afterthought films, really. The original is awesome. It really is. It is, the old school superheroes like the Phantom and so on. Darkman is just a cool Vengeance-inspired hero. I've got the trilogy set. It came out so long ago. And to me, it's a fun superhero romp. Don't expect a lot. You're not going to get a lot. But if you want something fun, sort of like how the Phantom was a moderately good movie at best. But it was very fun. It was very entertaining. I don't know if you saw the Phantom either.
Was that the one with Billy Zane?
Yeah, it was Billy Zane.
Yeah. I don't think I saw that. I know.
But as far as superheroes go that are like slightly under the radar, Darkman is a good series. It's a good trilogy. I want to know where that first one is. Maybe it was released a while back and then they're finally getting to the other two. That they do that occasionally. Like they're releasing the Silent Night, Deadly Night. And there's a billion of those. I would not be surprised if they release the original and then years from now they'll release like a 2-pack of 2 and 3 or something like that as it goes out. There's like 5 of those films.
Right.
Too many of those films.
Hey, right. All right, so me?
Yep.
All right, speaking of films that are afterthoughts, well, actually, this is one that I got very little out of it. I'm guessing it's a Shout release as well.
Yep.
This is called Darkness Rising.
Yep.
And a woman is haunted by the same supernatural presence after her years ago. I want to say this was the one that had something like a 3.3 rating on IMDb. It honestly does not look that interesting to me. So I didn't really think much of it at the time. Yeah, I don't know if you got more out of it than that, or if...
Haunted house film.
Yeah, well, that sounds about right.
I mean, just like I did with the last one, there are so many of these that are coming out lately. I love haunted house films, don't get me wrong. That's probably one of my favorite in the horror genre. But I feel like they're flooding the market. I blame Paranormal Activity.
And speaking of horror, I think you have a Shotokan series here.
Let's see here. Oh, 8. First Love Monster. Oh, that.
Like I said, a Shotokan series.
Remember we were talking about you hear the sirens
exactly
blaring as soon as you like do this, like, okay, this just gives me like...
Reminds me of Negima, but without all the good stuff that goes with it.
Yeah, so it's a 12-episode series. Essentially, this high school girl, she's starting high school, she's not having a good time, and she nearly gets run over and killed, but then this awesome, brawny-looking hero of a man saves her, and he's her love. She's going to dedicate her life to him, and it turns out he's only in the 5th grade. Boo! Boo on you, Japan. You need to stop making this stuff.
Yeah.
It bothered me when it was Negima. It really bothers me here.
At least with Negima, he was so dense that it kind of helped mitigate some of the creepy factor, and the fact that it turned into a full-blown shonen action series and the romance aspect got shoved into the background.
Good idea.
That made it better in the long run. And it's one reason why I wish they would animate the entire series, because the first anime focuses on that first rom-com part of the series.
You get another Funimation title.
But anyway, I do, don't I? And this one's like a CG series, isn't it? It looks like it was.
It's like a movie.
Yeah, I was a little unclear about exactly what we were looking at. But this is called Genocidal Organ. And it's basically, it looks like a militaristic... this is in a world of terror. The truth comes out behind humanity's darkness. And if I remember correctly, I want to say Yuichi Nakamura is the star of this series. And it had some pretty good big-name actors as well.
Like Big Name.
Exactly. It looks to me like the kind of show that... almost like the kind of show Rocky would go for.
You know, I almost thought it said gynecological organ. That would be a different type of series.
Well, even genocidal organ could be taken the wrong way, especially if you paired it with either of the ones next to it. Ew, that is kind of ghastly, isn't it? Anyway, it looks like if you're into that kind of stuff, like the action-y, militaristic, sci-fi, it probably will be worth a watch. That's not usually my favorite genre, so I may get to it one of these days. But anyway, you get the
speaking
joy.
Of ghastly,
yes,
the movie is called The Ghastlies.
Yes, and much like 60 Yard Line, hardly anyone has rated this on IMDb, and it still had what, a 1.6 rating?
Well, I mean, it's by a company that's got like Camp Moon Pictures on it. There's actually another one on this list. This one down here that also has that same bent on that to me.
I bet you want to see that one though. We'll get to
that.
that.
Whatever. It's one of many, I'm sure. But basically, a bunch of these sorority sisters want to initiate their nerdy sorority sister. Yeah. So they go out and then they decide, why don't we go to this haunted or messed up like place that demons and stuff are, because sorority girls, and they're haunted by these things that remind me of basically they remind me of the Ghoulies. That's what the first time I saw the picture of this, That's exactly what this looked like. It reminded me of a movie that the most memorable thing was a puppet sticking its head out of a toilet. That's what this thing reminded me of. And well,
high praise indeed.
yeah, it might be good. I mean, Ghoulies was entertaining. And Ghoulies 2 was the most entertaining one of that group. So, maybe.
So, on the very much the far end of the spectrum of artistic and
I even listed those
praise
off for you.
and what was that?
I even listed them off for you, the big
Yes,
names.
you did. Well, I remembered some of them. Okay, one of the highest profile, actually, arguably one of the high profile releases of this upcoming week is a movie from Lionsgate called The Glass Castle. It's based on the memoir by Jeanette Walls, and she's a very popular author, and this particular book has been very highly rated, and I've heard a lot about it. But the movie, I mean, you got Brie Larson, Woody Harrelson, and Naomi Watts. That is a very high wattage cast. And basically, it's sort of a family drama. I mean, like I said, it's based on a memoir, but it talks about a family where they each have their own issues. Some of them do have issues, apparently. I think Woody Harrelson's character is alcoholic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I do know that there's some very... you say something here about a tale of unrequited love. I don't remember.
That was the tagline I got from Amazon.
No. Oh, okay. But yeah, so basically, if you are at all familiar with this author or the movie definitely has the potential to be a really good movie.
Yeah.
As with many adaptations, your mileage will vary on whether you prefer the book or the movie.
First of many.
Do what?
First of many.
Yeah, that. Yes. But anyway, it's definitely one I'm curious about. Even if I knew nothing about where the movie came from, and I haven't read the book, I've just heard a lot about it. But that cast, I would see it anyway, because that is a hell of a cast. So, yeah, one day.
Actually, I like watching Woody Harrelson films.
Mm-hmm.
One day it's going to be at the dollar store for $1. And then I will pick it up like I have many of his films.
No, it'll be at the dollar store for $20.
Then I have to change the name.
Okay.
Alright, so I get a really awesome one, I guess.
Yeah, high-rated one.
Called Gun Shy. Another Lionsgate release, by the way.
Yeah. Showing the full breadth of quality.
Actually, it sounds like it would be a fun one to watch, if anything. You got this pampered rock star who can't even dress himself according to the description, but his daughter goes missing, and he has to go all Taken style. But he's also this guy who can't do anything for himself. So we get to see him have to shape up in order to save his daughter and take on terrorists and all that stuff.
And he is played by Antonio Ibanez. Yes. And I think Olga Kurylenko plays the daughter. So it's kind of fun.
It'll be an interesting one to watch, huh?
The user reviews on IMDb were not kind, but I am curious. And speaking of ones I'm curious about, Hondakun is another Funimation release. An insecure, overly popular calligrapher struggles through life not knowing his popularity while his childhood friend laughs and watches it unfold. 12-episode series. Apparently this guy is a wonderful calligrapher. He's very, very popular. Everyone loves him. Everyone thinks he must be having this great life. And he suffers from crippling insecurity and self-doubt. And sounds like a show, honestly, that I think many people could relate to, although maybe not the extreme popularity part
Sounds
of it.
Sounds like a terrible best friend.
I know, man. It looks interesting. I'll get to it one of these days. Funimation release, it'll probably be affordable sooner or later. It's not a priority, but it's on the list. And then you?
Actually, this is one that I am very interested in.
Yeah, this looks fun.
It's sort of a documentary called In Pursuit of Silence. And it's an experimental film. It's sort of experience basically the world of silence and a culture of silence. Things that are done almost in that manner. So varying things, like I think a tea ceremony was one of the things they listed.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of things that, to me, would be very interesting to look at. And it's meant to show that there's much more to the world than just, all the senses, using more the visual. I am, like I say, to me, this has a lot of good potential. I do want to see this. I'm actually excited for it. I like these types of experiments. I actually liked the red balloon, believe it or not. I really enjoyed it. And of course especially the second one.
Yes, the red balloon too. What was the?
No, I just remembered them having the guy saying, "Soon we'll make the red balloon the dead balloon."
They let it go. I had not foreseen that. The critic was lovely. So my turn?
Yep.
This is hilarious. I love this. We've got a movie called Ingrid Goes West, and all he wrote is romance. Did you even read the description?
No.
Oh, wow. That is so wrong. It's hilarious. Okay, so basically the film stars, Aubrey Plaza and Elizabeth Olsen. And Plaza plays a deeply disturbed woman who, I don't remember exactly what sets her off, but she becomes fanatically obsessed with an Instagram or Snapchat or whatever social media star out west, played by Elizabeth Olsen, and becomes her social media buddy and stalker. And it definitely, the idea of calling it a romance is kind of hilarious. So
romance.
It's a universal release. Aubrey Plaza is really good at playing the deadpan voice of jaded whatever the hell she feels like. And Olsen is a very talented actress. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing them play off each other. The idea of the movie sounds very interesting. But I have seen some movies lately that creeped me out. Hello, My Name is Doris comes to mind. And this seems like it's going to be in that vein.
Romance.
So, yes. Yes. Okay. What was that thing we keep talking about? The sirens, maybe?
Actually, though, I look at this. Actually, I think it was more of a typo because I was trying to, again, take this format.
Oh, you were going to say bromance?
I think I was going to do a little bit more elaboration, or I might have had it, but when I transferred it, it might not have gotten in. So that was all that was left. But I get another one that's interesting. It's an Australian horror. Shop Factory again. The Killing Ground. Basically, vacationers, they're already having problems. They're going to Australia for their vacation. You're going to get abducted, shot, stung, eaten.
Deadliest continent.
Maybe all at once because it's Australia. But the vacationers get more than what they asked for. It's, to me, this is going to be one of those. Every review I've read on Amazon says, "This is great Australian horror." So we'll see how that goes.
Wasn't Wolf Creek Australian horror?
Well, I thought Wolf Creek was boring. The second movie, though, was more entertaining. I actually did like the second film.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one I like.
Okay, so the next one is one that I'm very excited about because I will be getting this one. I was been dithering and going back and forth wanting to get the deluxe editions. I could not justify it.
So expensive.
Sentai has, I don't remember if they've done a Blu-ray release before of Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions. They do have DVD releases for both seasons, and I think they have a Blu-ray for at least the second season. And they have the deluxe editions, which I think they've already sold out at the first season.
Yeah.
I wanted those because the series has such a great reputation. He's told me good things. I've heard good things about it. It looks great. It looks fun. But this week, Sentai is doing a stripped-down regular release but it is the complete series, Blu-ray release.
I don't think they have the Rika version movie.
Rika version is not part of it. Yeah, I will have to get that separately. But the actual series is included. And again, Sentai is combining large portions of their catalog, making nice condensed seasons for people who have limited space and limited funds. It's very nice of them.
And will they do it for Space Brothers?
3 years from now, once I finally get it. But it is a very, very, very highly rated series. It's supposedly really good. I think you've talked a little bit before about what it's about, right?
Oh, yeah.
So basically, watch our other videos. But the idea is...
in fact, week before last.
Yes. Basically, Chunibyo is loosely translated 8th grader syndrome. The idea is these are people who have very, 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 very active fantasy lives to the point where they have trouble telling reality. And the main character has grown up. But the main female character, Rika, not so much. She wears an eye patch because she has like a beam that she's protecting the world from, right?
Something it's complicated.
It's weird. But good show from what I hear, and I will definitely look forward to this. Yeah.
If you liked Haruhi Suzumiya, if you liked that series, you will like this series. And it does not have, at least, I haven't watched the second season yet, so it might have its Infinite 8.
And you mentioned when supernatural battles become commonplace. That was a fascinating premise where you had a show where the main guy is an active Chunibyo and the main girl had grown out of it. But suddenly, out of nowhere, their club all develop superpowers. And then they go about their daily lives. The problem is, the Chunibyo guy, his power is like the lamest power ever. It's a hilarious show, and it's really good, and I do look forward to that one, too.
So, let's see here.
Mobile Suit Gundam Wing.
Oh, yeah.
But you should have made that one entry.
Yeah, I'll just... I will introduce it.
We can tag
and
team
then
it.
have you follow to the next on it, which is the Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. I don't know a lot about it. It's my first ever introduction to it because it was on Cartoon Network. Friends of mine loved the series. I don't know much about it. I was not into mecha series. I still am not into mecha series. I'm waiting on the special edition, which is going to be released in December. But this is coming out, so if you want to get it, if you did not get on the Bandai train, you can get the Part 1, which is episodes 1 to 25.
Or Part 2 is 26 to 49.
See, there we go.
Sunrise release. Yeah.
See, there we go. We tag teamed it there.
And actually, I picked up the first Bandai one for the specific reason I found it for $18.
Yeah,
and I looked it up, and it was selling for 70 or more.
Yeah, resell that stuff.
I may have to do that because it would be better to just get the whole thing from one company. Yeah. But I have not seen any Gundam, but it's such a well-known franchise. Part of the thing is I haven't known where to attack it. There's so much of it.
The original.
Yeah, so one day, Gundam Wing is one of the better-known parts of the franchise. And if you are at all into mechas or whatever, it's definitely one to get to one of these days. And now that it's pretty much all being re-released, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That should at least make it available, which is a whole lot better than what we were working with before.
Yeah. There's so many Gundams, so it's hard to say when you say all.
Yeah.
But from what I've been told, and I've talked to people about it, because I was thinking about, I was like, so what do I need to do? And I brought up in one of my pickup videos, Mobile Suit Gundam, Collection 1 and 2, which will be similar to this one, which is the first Gundam series. I've been told, start with that, or the movie trilogy for that. You'll get the basics, you'll understand where the world is coming from, then hit it from whatever at this point, and you can do it. So... that will be interesting. Now, Mother Krampus. I couldn't find a lot on it.
Looks like that'd be up on your alley, though.
It's in my wish list queue because I do want to get it because I've got all the other Krampus films. I don't expect it to be good. I don't expect it to even be entertaining in some aspects. Out of the Krampus films I've watched, and I've watched almost every Krampus film out there, if you think you can stump me on a Krampus film, write it in the comments, and I will tell you if I've seen that bad boy or not. I have seen almost every Krampus film there is. I'm going to do a video this holiday season. You mark my words. I'm going to do a video. It's going to be Krampus and more Krampus and more Krampus. And you're going to be sick of Krampus by the time you get that video. Who knows? Maybe I'll get this one just so I can add that to the pile. I've even seen that original short film that they did that kicked off the whole crap.
Right.
So it's done by Cinedigm.
Mm-hmm.
Another studio that I have not heard of.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
Do you know of anything else they released?
Not offhand.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I give you a positive one.
Well, yeah, but you've given me one that I honestly don't remember anything about it at all. We have a Paramount release called Overdrive. Two car thieves find themselves in the crosshairs of a crime boss.
Hey.
That's more than I remember.
Enough said, right?
We did cover a whole lot this week, and I actually remember most of them, but that one I am totally blanking on. Do you remember anything?
I wrote that down from what I read. I said, this is the best summary I can think of. I think it's a concise summary. That's got some, like, action stuff there. This is Fast and the Furious. Never seen a film in the Fast and Furious series.
I've seen the first one, and I was inebriated. I need to see the others.
Inebriated.
Yes.
And behind the wheel.
No. That was back in college, you know.
Oh, inebriated behind the wheel watching Fast and the Furious. By the way, don't try that.
No, kids, don't try that at home. Or at college. Or anywhere.
Though I could see that being on Family Guy. Peter's watching Fast and the Furious behind the wheel of a car, drunk.
Yep.
And that's going to set up
having Brian help him reenact scenes while he's doing it. Yeah, probably.
So, I get one that's good. Which is Revolutionary Girl Utena Part 2. Which covers the Black Rose saga. Release, of course, Nozomi Lucky Penny. So they're doing that Blu-ray re-release, and it's a 3-part series, and you got the movie. And so this is part 2, of course, obviously. There's not much to say about Utena, really. It's that typical magical girl thing. I mean, there's a lot of repetition. They do something, they get into a fight, they use the same intro. I think they change up the intro for season 2, but then they use the same one. I believe this one has to do with them sitting in a car, a convertible, while they're doing it. It really, to me, there was a lot of repetition in it. Great series, beautiful animation, good overall story, but to me, it's that same Sailor Moon effect. Basically, you have your battle, Utena wins. Oh, lesbians.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of... Okay, no, that was wrong.
Might as well be on that.
Probably is. I have no idea, but this supposedly is from people who do everything they can to drag the bottom of pop, whatever. But VCI Entertainment, apparently, is re-releasing an old film from the 70s, right? Late 70s? Called Satan's Cheerleaders. I think that title will probably tell you right away if you're going to have any interest at all in this one.
I need my fireball for that.
You wrote down a dark ritual of cursed clothing and sexual sacrifice. I guess that jibes with what I read about it. I read that apparently this guy who directed this film covered a very wide range of films. But in general, he basically made exploitive films that were little more than shameless rip-offs of whatever genre he was doing. And this film is apparently, well, I guess film might not be the right word.
Well,
production.
It's on film.
Yes, it is. Or it was. Everything's digital nowadays. My understanding is that this one has somewhat of a following, and it's got an okay reputation, but it does not look like it's that great. And some people say it's so bad it's good, and if it is genuinely a so bad it's good kind of movie, might be worth seeing one night late at night.
Yeah.
But
Drinking game.
Probably, yes. But I don't... Yeah, that's not a priority.
So I've got another lovely film by Lionsgate.
Mm-hmm.
Lionsgate is known to publish anything.
Yeah.
So...
That's their company byline, is we will publish anything.
I mean, if you look at... Oh, you've seen what they publish.
Yes.
They publish a wide range. Some of it really, really good.
They put out 50 Shades, didn't they?
I think so, yeah, actually.
But they have done, like you said, some really good stuff.
They've really done
too.
good stuff, and they've done really bad stuff.
Yeah.
And stuff that's not even necessarily selling. At least 50 Shades, you know it's going to sell out because there are people that want that. But why, I don't know. But, okay, I know why. It's unfortunate.
We could do a whole video just on that, but we probably won't.
So, we got a program called The Show. It's about a reality TV show, but they kill you for real on it.
They strap you to a chair and force you to watch the entire 50 Shades franchise.
Well, considering there's only 2 movies out, that's not too bad.
Well, there's going to be another one, right?
Yeah, there's going to be a third one. I've heard talks that they've thought about splitting it into 2 movies, like every other one of those. But I think that they shot that down, so I think it is going to be an actual trilogy instead of... Actually, it's going to be an actual trilogy instead of a trilogy.
And here, I was thinking they were going to aim for 50 of them.
I really don't understand that trend. What is it with the trend of trilogy, 2 movies, split the last one? I mean, somebody told me Harry Potter started that with the 7th book being split in 2. But
it partly did, but that was just... All studios can't wait to copy each other. That's what it is. If they think someone over in this studio is making more money than they are, they're going to do what they can to make more money. Now, I'll admit, I have no personal qualms with them splitting these stories because they cut so much out. But when they do it and take over a year to release them, that gets annoying. And when they do it when it's obviously a money grab.
yeah.
Harry Potter, you had a long book. It made sense to split it into 2 parts because they missed so much in the previous 3 books that the fans were like, we would rather see...
Yeah, 2.
Yes. But then you have stuff like The Hobbit, where it's like... Really?
3 movies for one. Actually, one I've heard that's a big offender of this, and I need to watch the last 2, is the Mockingjay, I think it was.
The Hunger Games?
Yeah, the Hunger Games.
I like Mockingjay.
I've heard that the last 2 movies that they kind of dragged at points, that they were trying to stuff it with filler in order to make it.
Since I haven't read
longer.
the books, I can't really comment on how much of that was filler. I thought they were good movies.
I mean, the books were excellent. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed all 3 books. They were, but they weren't that long. Yeah. I feel like they could have made that into one. I need to see it, but because I'm only going on reputation. I mean, the second film was awesome. Catching Fire is probably one of the better films of that time. And the original film had great music.
Well, they all had great music.
So,
anyway,
your turn.
My turn, and I missed this. I didn't even know this was coming.
Did you see this one?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's amazing.
Well, okay, so Funimation is apparently putting out a collector's edition of Speed Racer. 52 episodes. This will have a dub and a sub and a keychain. that makes it right there.
It's actually a pretty cool looking set.
Yeah.
It's like a big old speed racer head with the shoulders, balancing it.
But that's going to be a pain to try and put in a shelf or something.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I've got like the other release that Funimation did, which is just the episodes with the sub and dub.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah, but Speed Racer is again one of those iconic series.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly am not very familiar with it. I just know it more by name and reputation, but it is one that is an essential, and I'll have to get it one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, a sequel to a series I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Called Two Heart 2.
Yes.
By Made in Japan. Also one that releases some little known series and some recent stuff. A 13-episode series. Two childhood friends discover each other in new ways while growing into adolescence. Essentially, it's the childhood friends. The childhood friends. Adolescence kicks in. Ooh, sexual tension now.
But this being a part of the Two Heart franchise, which is a well-known harem franchise in Japan, lots of girls get involved.
Well, yeah, from what I've read about it, he's very popular with the ladies.
Yes.
But again, I never saw the first one, so I can't really,
Right.
So.
So next up we have the Untamed, which sounds like thematically could kind of go along with that one. It's from Strand Releasing, and your description's kind of interesting.
Let's continue on it.
Yeah, basically, my understanding of it is that it's sort of like you say a demonic presence, but I feel like I read it was an alien story.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Aliens, demons, ghosts.
I also read that it was confusing. But apparently these people, this couple, I think, goes on a vacation, and something makes things interesting in that area. Apparently, wherever this thing goes, and this couple falls under its spell as well, they start wanting to do it a lot. And apparently it affects animals as well as humans. I know very little about this. I was intrigued by the description, but also a little bit disturbed by the description. So
Strand Releasing,
I don't know if I'm going to get around to that one or not. But it sounds odd and interesting. But who knows? But we've got two big ones at the end of the list here.
Actually, I've heard a lot of good things from this series. Warner Brothers is releasing Westworld Season 1. I've seen the movie, and the movie was pretty cool. I mean, basically, in the future, they have these amusement parks where you've got these animatronic. You got the animatronics, but they're not just animatronics. They're like full-out robots, automaton to be the best thing. But these automatons go berserk, and then the horror begins.
The horror. I think this series has a really awesome cast, from what I remember correctly.
It does.
Isn't it like Evan Rachel Wood is the main actress, and I don't remember everyone else involved, but it's a big name cast.
But it's got some critical praise and all that stuff.
And this is one of IMDb's current top-rated TV shows. Like, I think it's rated better than Orphan Black, and that one was pretty damn high rated. So yeah, definitely a good. I want to see this. I'm very curious about it. I didn't realize it was that high rated, but it's pretty interesting. Yeah,
I really want to see it. It's on my high list.
And then my last one for November 7, I'm going to kick off the last one, which I actually have a pre-order on.
Me too.
And it's strange that you don't have both versions listed here, since you like to do that so much.
There's a little bit of difference.
There's a little bit of difference. He's got, I think, the basic edition on pre-order. I've got the deluxe edition, and I'm hoping and praying that it comes down in price. But we'll see. Currently, it's at $62, which is a lot for a movie.
Aniplex.
Oh, jeez, no. Well, I don't see that happening. We do have finally have the release by Funimation of the highest grossing anime ever, Your Name, filmed by Makoto Shinkai. We have referenced it several times on this channel. It was a awesome movie. Shinkai is a very talented director, extremely artsy, but his film 5 centimeters per second was the one that introduced us to him. He was wondering why this movie consistently sold for $100 or more on Amazon.
Yeah, well, it's because of print.
Yeah, it came here briefly and then went out of print. 5 centimeters per second is a gorgeous film. It's well made. It is depressing as hell. And I've seen several other Shinkai films too. But Your Name is he's gone on record. He said, I thought I would try my hand at something more popular. And he succeeded.
Much more popular.
This was like the Frozen of Japan. It actually did not top Spirited Away at the Japanese box office, but it did top Spirited Away at the worldwide box office. It is a very, very, very high rated film. ANN's curve is something like like everyone's got it at Masterpiece. And it is a great film. If Only Yesterday didn't have its American bow last year, Your Name would have been my top pick. Although I was PO'd that they released it for 1 or 2 weeks to qualify for the Oscars in November. And then they sat on it till March and released it March this year. Which is like, you're almost guaranteeing the movie won't get an Oscar nod, you idiots. But it should have won the Oscar, and it wasn't even nominated because Funimation doesn't know how to play the game. No offense to them. They don't know how to play the Oscar game. Your Name is a great... Basically, the idea is you have a boy and a girl who are both high schoolers. She lives in the country. He lives in in Tokyo, I think, but in the metropolis. One morning, he wakes up in her body. She wakes up in his. And obviously is unsettling for them, but they make the most of it. They eventually, and not in the way that you probably thought. Although he does have a tendency to...
There are other anime about that.
Yeah, there are other anime. This is a cut above. Although he does tend to fondle herself a couple of times. It's a running joke, actually, that her sister walks in. Eventually, they start leaving each other notes. And they start communicating with each other. And I'm not going to spoil... There's a big twist, and I'm not going to spoil it. But the movie turns into something very different than what you expected. That Makoto Shinkai artsiness does come into play. But it remains a very entertaining film from start to finish. And one of the reasons why I'm going for the deluxe edition is it comes with the soundtrack. Yeah. Which apparently the song, I don't know which song, but one of the songs by Radwimps was the Let It Go of Japan for last year. It was the song you heard everywhere. So, and I don't think the soundtrack is getting a separate release here. So, I kind of want to do that. But it'd be really nice if I don't have to pay $60 for a movie. Especially because the regular edition's down to $20.
Every movie will be $60 now.
But it's still cheaper than Aniplex.
Yeah, it's still cheaper than what...
And Funimation's limited editions are good. So, it's still a better buy than getting an Aniplex movie.
Actually, the sad thing is, that's the standard edition for the Blu-ray for Aniplex.
Exactly.
Usually they're much higher.
Yeah.
So
anyway, one last one, November 10th.
November 10th is seeing a release from Bandai, oddly enough. Bandai has been putting out these collector's editions for Mobile Suit Gundam, the original. I mean, they're sort of like almost Laserdisc looking. I mean, they really are. They got that like tall... I've seen one in real life. They sell out very quickly. I think the first couple of volumes are unavailable now. If I had known about them when they originally came out, I probably would have gone for them, but now I'm not interested because I can't get them all. If I can't own them all, I'm not going to bother with
Gotta
it.
get them all.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I understand, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, even if it's a series like this and you can't get on the ground level, and you know, okay, I could get on here at volume 5, but the chance of me finding the other volumes are crap.
Yeah.
No.
See, I didn't even realize Bandai I thought they had completely shuttered their North American operation, but I guess they're still doing very limited collector stuff. Yeah.
And I think these are more films. I haven't seen anything that shows me that these are episodes of anything, unless they're doing single episodes.
Well, if it's volumes, it makes sense that it'd be,
So
if you got money and you love you some Gundam, go for it.
And if you've already got the other 4 volumes,
exactly,
this is coming out on the 10th. So collect that stuff. Go for it.
Yeah.
With that being said, I hope you all have a happy week. Lots of DVD purchases. This will be coming out on Halloween, so happy Halloween for you. And enjoy your holiday.
Yes.
Ooh. All right. In any case, thumbs up if you like the video. Share it, of course. Sharing it is the way of caring for it. So you need to make sure other people know. Allow us to keep going, doing our thing. We mainly do this because we enjoy our passion for collecting these types of films. But having a wider audience would be great. I'm sure we would love to see that. So,
and actually, legitimately, like, for example, your name. I was very, 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 very irritated by how limited the American release for that film was. How limited in scope the promotion for it was. Like I said, Funimation really dropped the ball on the Oscar release. They should have done one big graduated rollout in the fall and made people know that movie in award season. There's no excuse for a movie being that popular worldwide and that awesome and getting treated like an afterthought here. So one of the things we did, and you have talked repeatedly about small studios, and we like to let people know what's out there that you might not have heard of otherwise. And and sometimes we don't really care about the big names if they're in a movie we never heard of before. They're big names. They take care of themselves, Yeah. Anyway.
You see, to me, I want to be able to really enjoy these films like Ghastlies and, okay, maybe not Ghastlies, like Satan's Cheerleaders, or let's see here, or a good one, Dragon Dentist. That one's only minorly known. It's an older series, I think. I think it's an older one.
I don't remember.
I've heard the name for a while, at least in the manga. Or bringing attention back to the Adventures of the Little Prince, or Anohana, despite it being a Aniplex release.
Yeah.
So, find some good movies, watch some good movies, comment, and we will see you next time.
Right.